happens when an iconic franchise tries to rise from its own fossilized bones, only to come back half alive. Dinosaurs roar, jungles tremble. But beneath the spectacle, does Jurassic World Rebirth really earn its name? Let's open this jungle gate together. Welcome back to Review, your home for deep dives that pull no punches and leave no scene unturned. Today, we're sinking our teeth into Jurassic World Rebirth, the seventh trip to a world where dinosaurs never really die, but maybe, just maybe, the magic does. If you crave sharp, honest takes on your favorite franchises, and some that should probably stay extinct, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss what's next. Alright, let's follow the footprints into this so-called rebirth. When you slap the word rebirth onto the title of a franchise this legendary, you're inviting every fan to expect something bold. Something that might recapture the awe of Steven Spielberg's original Jurassic Park moment when we first saw that towering Brachiosaurus. But Jurassic World Rebirth doesn't really roar back to life. It more or less shuffles back to basics, yes, but maybe too basic. The setup sounds promising. Zora Bennett, played by Scarlett Johansson, is a covert ops specialist hired to snatch dinosaur DNA for disease research. She's backed by a crew of misfits. The weary Dr. Henry Loomis, Zora's loyal military pal Duncan, a shady farmer rep, and the inevitable slimeball played by Ed Skrein. It all kicks off with momentum, and credit where it's due, the opening has an energy that the last few Jurassic films have fumbled. There's tension, there's chemistry. This ragtag squad is stitched together by desperation, emptiness, and a paycheck big enough to make anyone risk becoming dino food. And for a moment, just a moment, you believe this adventure might dig up something fresh. The human element is here. Broken people, hidden trauma, and the chance to watch them bond or break under the teeth and claws of creatures long dead. But then, well, the jungle mist clears, and the old, tired footprints show up. Have you ever felt like you've seen a movie before, while watching it for the very first time? When the squad hits that remote island, Jurassic World Rebirth trades its solid setup for the same old jungle runaround. You get the classic stare-in-awe moments, those long-necked dinosaurs wandering through misty valleys, a T-Rex chase that feels almost contractually required, and the usual philosophical musings about man versus nature that drift away faster than mosquito DNA in amber. And while the characters start off intriguing, their arcs evaporate faster than a velociraptor behind a tree line. The gritty motives risking everything because they have nothing get buried under the familiar stomping of old tropes. There are flashes of life here. The boat trip to the island stands out as the film's sharpest edge. The Mosasaurus reclaims its crown, and the Spinosaurus finally gets the teeth-bearing terror it deserves, maybe even upstaging the T-Rex this time. Director Gareth Edwards and cinematographer John Matheson deserve their flowers. The film's look is lush, grand, and drenched in shadows that make every roar echo deeper. Shot mostly on location and on film, the color palette is rich, saturated, almost nostalgic for the franchise's golden age. But then the CGI hits. The creatures, so monstrous in concept, often drift like ghosts. For a saga that once redefined movie effects with a mind-blowing blend of CGI and practical wizardry, it stings to see these giants look like half-finished renderings. In the end, it's another round of humans versus dinos running in circles through a jungle we've walked a dozen times before. Now, here's where things really stumble. A subplot that feels about as necessary as a dinosaur on a space shuttle. A father, his two daughters, and the older daughter's boyfriend, sailing through waters famously infested with giant reptiles because, well, no one really knows. They cross paths with Zora's crew, get scattered when things go sideways, and wander through the island in what amounts to filler. A baby dinosaur tags along, adorable, sure, but does it do anything for the plot? Not really. This could have been the emotional heart. Imagine if someone in this family needed the very DNA Zora's team risks their lives to steal. There's a moral dilemma baked in right there. Share the cure with the world or hand it to Big Pharma for a fat paycheck. But instead, their presence feels like an afterthought. A lost B-plot in a film already weighed down by repetitive set pieces. It's one of those "why are they even here?" moments. And it hurts because the film hints at bigger questions but never bites down. In a world overrun by extinct monsters, the real threat shouldn't be narrative deadweight. If there's one element that really tries, to pull Jurassic World Rebirth out of extinction, it's the craft behind the camera. Director Gareth Edwards, known for giving giant creatures true scale and dread, wrings every ounce of atmosphere out of the jungle. The island feels alive, shadows flicker across sweating brows, colossal tails whip through misty trees, and you almost believe you're back in that 1993 magic. John Matheson's cinematography makes every frame pop. Colors burst with that old-school, film-grain warmth, a welcome break from the cold digital gloss that's flattened so many blockbusters lately. The sound design is thunderous, each roar and growl rattles your seat just enough to remind you what you came for. But for all that effort, the CGI drags it down. Aside from a single boat sequence, which actually makes you lean forward, the dinosaurs often look like second-rate game models. You can see the green screen seams. It's a bitter pill considering the original Jurassic Park remains the blueprint for mixing practical and digital effects flawlessly. To watch its descendants settle for good enough is frustrating. The same creatures that should make your jaw drop instead flicker across the screen like half-finished ghosts. It's the kind of cut corner you can forgive in a B-movie, but not when you're riding on the back of one of cinema's greatest technical achievements. Jurassic World Rebirth teases spectacle, then pulls its punch when it's time to make the dinos feel real. Before we send this sequel back to the fossil bed, let's be fair, Jurassic World Rebirth does have sparks of that primal thrill that makes these movies endure, no matter how many times they stumble. Remember that Mosasaurus? The boat sequence is a standout, tension, terror, and scale all snapping together in a way that feels worthy of the Jurassic name. And the Spinosaurus, so underused in past films, finally gets a moment to shine, lurking in shadows, springing sudden terror, snapping expectations in half. And there are tiny subversions that almost make you grin. A dinosaur poised to attack only to be dragged away by nature's chaos. It's a fun wink at audiences who think they know every beat by heart. These flashes remind us what this series can be when it remembers its roots, tension, surprise, that fragile line between awe and horror. But they're buried under the safe, same-old structure that refuses to evolve, ironically, the one thing dinosaurs never could do in time. So, where does that leave Jurassic World Rebirth? It's a movie that wants to thrill you with dinosaur roars and lush jungles, and sometimes it does. But the pieces that really matter, character stakes, fresh ideas, practical effects that ground the spectacle, they're scattered like bones in the dirt. Maybe you're okay with that. Maybe you just want to watch giant reptiles stomp and chomp for 2 hours, no questions asked. And if that's you, Rebirth has you covered. But for the rest of us, the ones who remember the wonder of that first trembling glass of water, that first glimpse of living thunder on a hill, it's hard not to wish this Rebirth had grown stronger teeth. So, I want to hear from you. Are you still here for the ride, even if the magic's faded? Or is it time to let this franchise rest in peace? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you crave more dino thrills, or should they finally stay extinct? If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and catch the next fossil we dig up right here on Review. See you next time.